Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. I am Dr. Kalawai Anita, Assistant Professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communications, Osmania University. In today's class, we are going to talk about television production process. Under this, specifically we are going to talk about grammar of TV and composition rules. Let's get started. In this lesson, we are specially focusing on power of television, understanding TV, why television has become part of our daily life, because visuals make meaning and visuals have lot of impact on television viewers. So, TV is greatest strength by visuals. So, like how you have a written content and written content is read in a newspaper and that is how you get the information. Similarly, for television, what speaks is the visuals. And when the visuals speak, you also need some content that we call as a scripting. In this lesson, we will be talking about very important aspect of grammar of television. How television can be built with certain grammar and also language. Now, you may be confused, what is this? Does television also has a grammar? Yes, it is not the grammar that you are thinking, but a grammar that is related with visuals and audio. We will discuss in detail about this in coming slides, but now we will understand the grammar of television and how creative you have to be when you are talking about technical aspect of television production. And the most important concept here is the composition, which is very essential for effective communication. So, we will get into understanding these concepts at the beginning, which are like basics for television production, and then we go into the core of how television production is. Then comes the grammar of television. Now, you must be familiar with the word grammar. But here grammar for television means, because television has components like audio and visuals. But where is a grammar fitting here is your doubt, right? But a common convention used in audio and visual medium means television is a medium of visuals. How to select these visuals and how to place them in order is nothing but a grammar of a television. So, they convey meaning through camera and editing techniques. These are the two crucial elements that are associated with television, and these are the two things that make up the grammar of television also. So, it helps us, that is the viewers, to experience events or situations or even sequences that are happening. So, communication through pictures and sounds is a very essential thing in camera language. So, TV has a language. Through that language only we are able to understand what they are communicating. So, to understand that language we need to understand the grammar, and that grammar is created with, as we said, visuals and sounds. So, reconstructing of events from a raw footage. Yes, when we go for a shoot, we do not just shoot only a limited thing that we have put it on a paper. Sometimes you have to take more content also, because we do not know what kind of content is useful in which part of the area that we have to use. So, better when you go for a shoot, take more content and place it accordingly wherever it is required. So, all these are pre-preparation projects that you have to do before when you go for an actual television production. So, I hope now you understood what is TV grammar is. Now, moving on, we will understand the most important element is the composition. Now, as we said, there is a grammar for TV, there is something called like composition also an important element. Like how a painter paints, when he is painting, he himself imagines in his mind where a tree has to be, where the hut has to be, where people has to stand, and then he decides the entire frame of that picture. Similarly, in composition also, where the visual elements are deliberately arranged within the television frame to create an aesthetic, pleasing and meaningful image. So, that entire frame is in the hands of a camera person. He will decide where the subject has to be, where the other elements have to be, so that it gives a very nice feeling for the person who is watching. So, good composition guides viewers' eyes through the frames and emphasize more important elements. You are going to decide what your viewer is supposed to watch. What helps you make a good composition? There is basically to talk the 4 elements which are mentioned here, that is light, color, shape and balance. So, you may be thinking of certain movies where the light dominates. There may be some movies where you find the whole movie in a dark. Mostly we find this in horror movies. The theme is completely dark, and also the kind of colors they use. And when you compare these color combinations, there are certain movies where they wanted to deliberately have that particular color dominate the whole movie. So, like this, certain songs are also in black and white color, where they put the theme intentionally to have a different composition. So, these all are called as composition. There are so many things involved in composition that come into the important aspects. Basically you need to understand certain principles of composition, how they come from and where do they come from. One thing is, as we discussed already, the light and the color and balancing them in proper way. Second is the rule of thirds, and also different types of shots, and which includes medium, long and close-up shots. As we go on, we will discuss about all these things. Now, out of this composition rules, the first one is rule of thirds. Now, you may get a doubt, why should we have composition specifically? Because there are so many people who are using cameras outside, nobody follows them. That is the difference. A professional camera person outlook is completely different when compared with the non-professional. Today, everybody must be having a camera, but certain videos only we like the most, certain way of taking of a video only we like. That is because the kind of composition rules they followed. As we said, the first rule that we have to, these rules will help you enhance the image of your quality of a camera. Okay. So, now the first one is the rule of thirds. As you can see in the image, the frame is divided into 3 equal parts. One is the horizontal as well as the vertical. So, the intersection points are called as golden sections, and you place your subject intentionally, because that is the areas, as per the many research, the areas where the eye of a human falls is in these intersections. So, you place your subject intentionally there to make the person watch that. So, new anchored position, either you intentionally put a person either left or right to attract the eye of your viewer. So, this creates visually pleasing and balanced image, and it is a very popular rule of thirds in the composition, because you should not put your subject directly into the center. If you place them into the center, it loses the quality and the richness of the image. So, always try to put your subject either left or right where the intersection is possible. And the second thing is to understand here is the television's horizontal format. When we watch TV, we don't look into all these aspects, isn't it? You don't look into the composition styles, you don't look at the framing position and all that. But when we talk about television format, television has certain format. Traditionally, we talk about, earlier it was only television, we never had much of popularity of cinema and other mediums. Today cinema is dominating, but television has its own important place. So, unlike photography or cinema, television scenes are designed in a horizontal viewing. That's how we watch them. So, which fundamentally shapes how content is framed and composed. Initially, traditionally, when TV was introduced, it was 4:3 format, where television formats ratio used to standard definition and broadcast creativity and also neatly sequenced frames. But today, what format we use in this digital world is the 16:9 format, where the modern high definition standard provides a wide screen experience and matching with the cinema proportion also, because most of the time we watch cinema in this OTT world also, we see a lot of movies. So, like that, this television format is another important area. Now, you watch the old movies in your present big screens, you will find that space at left and right. So, that's where you can understand the ratio methods. Then comes most important thing that is associated with the composition is the shots. Shot is a basic building block. Shots are various types, but basically what is a shot? A shot is something when you switch on your camera and you switch off your camera while recording. Okay, so your recording is seen and it may last usually for 8 to 10 seconds or maybe longer based on your specific requirement, but shots gain meaning to the relationship. So, you put the shots accordingly to give meaning. I was telling you about the grammar that is there, you create them with the shot. So, sequence create illusions and continuous continuity in the events. So, if there is no continuity, you won't be able to understand the concept also. In this way, you have to understand the grammar of TV and also the composition methods. When you talk about all these aspects only, you are giving the completeness to your television production. So, to conclude, I would say television, as you understand, is a powerful medium. It is our daily life pattern where we watch and enjoy. So, in this lesson, we just try to understand the basics of TV production, where we need to know what grammar is and then how composition is associated with light, color, balance and shape, as well as good composition principles like harmony, and also the most important thing is the rule of thirds, where TV formats have also been discussed. So, in the next class, we would be talking in detail about the shots and various types of shots as well as the types of cameras. Thank you.